How is it going, everyone? Happy Thursday. Nick Marro, DFS here with DFS Jayhawk. We got the Nick at Night stream going once again. Nice little slate tonight, man. As always, we're here to help you break down NBA DFS on both DraftKings and FanDuel. We got a nice condensed five gamer here on both sites, I believe. Jayhawk, what's your first takes going in here? We got a lot of big names out tonight, creating a ton of value across the board.
Yeah, we were just talking pre-stream. It's not a ton of games, but a lot of injury news and a bunch of great game totals tonight. So very excited to break this one down.
Yeah, for sure. Shouts out Card saying Jolly St. Nick's. Luke asking if it's a brawny night. I'll throw that one to you, Jayhawk. Also, shouts out Heath and Greg getting here early. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I wish it was, man, but we got AR-15 and LeBron tonight to target, so I don't think so personally.
Yeah, there's a lot to like on this slate. I don't know that we need to dig that deep unless maybe you're playing a showdown. But as always, guys, we're going to go through game by game, give you the full breakdown here. And yeah, again, 5 game slate on both sites condensed. 2 games locking at 7, 2 at 7:30, 1 at 8 p.m. Those are all Eastern Standard Times. First game on the slate here, we got the Boston Celtics taking on the Washington Wizards in DC. The Celtics are going to be without Jaylen Brown, who is out with an injury, or it says injury. It's an illness, excuse me. Obviously, no Jason Tatum. He's out for the year. Nothing else too significant on this injury report. Yeah, Brown's been pretty healthy most of this year. We don't have a ton of data with him off the floor, but with him gone, I mean, there's going to be extra usage to guys like White, Pritchard, obviously some of these secondary guys as well, like Hauser, maybe Walsh, Simons, Kada, are all going to look a little bit better here as well. I will say, I think White and Pritchard are obviously the two guys we definitely want to get to in most of our lineups. They look excellent, both with over an 11 OF index rating, and just a great matchup here against the Wizards, obviously. So those two look great. I'll let you talk about Kada. Simons is going to be interesting. I think he's coming off the bench. He definitely has some upside. He's obviously scoring dependent, though. I think Sam Hauser starting at the 3 poses an interesting value play here as well. But other than the 2 guards, I think everything's appealing, but maybe a little bit overowned, even on a 5 gamer. Tough to say that, though. They do look great in the model right now. Jayhawk, how you feeling about the Celtics here?
Yep, so I'm with you. I think Pritchard and White definitely the safest plays here. I think they both look great. No issues getting to both them in the same lineup either. I think they look awesome. And then yeah, you mentioned it. I think Neemias Queta is probably my favorite overall center play tonight. Just in this pace up spot against Washington, I love his upside. So love Queta. Those are like my 3 favorite. And then I wanted to hear your take on Hauser versus Simons. I think I do prefer Hauser slightly, but model prefers Hauser. I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on this too.
Yeah, yeah, I think they have a similar upside, right? But you're just getting about a 1K discount on Hauser compared to Simons on both sites, which is why I'm probably going to get to a little bit more Hauser. It wouldn't shock me to see Simons go off. We see it from time to time, but they're both popular, and Simons is a little bit more owned. So I would rather go to Hauser of those two. But again, I think White and Pritchard are the safe plays. I'm with you on Kada in high risk contests and tournaments. I do think the upside is definitely there. The only issue with him is he's super volatile. We see these low floor games from him from time to time. Obviously, with no SAR for Washington, they could maybe play a little bit faster, maybe a little bit smaller as well. Not something they've been doing lately, but it's enough for me to pause on him. But I do think he's definitely the 3rd most appealing Celtic here. But yeah, man, just a great spot, great matchup here for everyone, Kada included.
Did you have any love? I know we briefly talked about him, but Jordan Walsh on here. Chuck mentioned him the other day, but he's super cheap. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's okay as like a last piece in. It's just his usage just floats like around 10%. That's what Jaylen Brown in. I don't think he's going to absorb much of that with Brown off the floor. Just not a guy who takes shots, which makes it difficult for him to score well. He does still get there with rebounds and stocks. But yeah, it's just kind of a thin play in terms of his upside if he's not going to be shooting aggressively. The one huge game he had where he had 35 fantasy points against Cleveland. Um, let's see, he got to the foul line a lot, had 11 boards. I mean, he could get there. I don't know. I would just rather a guy who's going to shoot aggressively like a Simons in a similar price range, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hauser and Simons are just safer for the I don't know the 100, 200 more they're at.
Yep. Right there with you, man. Over on the Washington side, they're missing some key pieces here as well. The big one being Alexander Sarr. Obviously, we've been playing a lot of Bagley and Vucevic lately. We'll talk about that in a moment. Still no Bilal Koulibaly, AJ Johnson, or Trey Johnson. Corey Kispert out here as well. He's been someone we've been getting to on some of these slates with all these guys out and unavailable. Justin Champagny in this same spot last time, obviously against Philly, a bit of a different matchup. Went off. He was cheaper than he is now, but he's probably going to start here again. And the field is completely off him. So I said last time, like, I wasn't on stream, but I didn't like him as a play, and it absolutely burnt me. He was great in that spot. Super aggressive, 2 for 3 or 2 for 5 from three, 7 boards. He was doing it all. I don't mind going to him here at low ownership. I think he's a decent pivot off of some of the chalkier value. We've seen good games out of McCollum lately. Very scoring dependent, so he's a wide range of outcomes. But I do think his upside is about as high as anyone's on this team. And honestly, man, I'm kind of shocked that Bagley isn't more popular, at least on DK, where we can play the two centers. Only 13% ownership on him. No Sar. I mean, he's gone for 30 plus fantasy points in each of his last 3 games where he's started. And all of those matchups, honestly, are tougher, I think, against Milwaukee and Minnesota, especially. So don't know why Bagley's not more popular. Probably my favorite wizard here. Kaishan George has shown upside. Obviously, Vucevic off the bench if you need the value. But yeah, man, there's just a lot to talk about with Washington. Not that they're a great team, but for fantasy, they have been pretty good lately.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Bagley's been awesome starting for starter the past few games. I think he looks great as like a potential run back to all these Boston guys. So love the Bagley shout. And then I think Vukovic is also in play once again. 4K. If you don't like Bagley as much, you could probably mix in some Vuk at 4K. And then I'm with you on Champagne. I think he does have a ceiling on his price, and it's a great game total. So I'd be fine mixing him in as well in tournaments, like you said.
Yeah, like if someone like Hauser's going to be chalk, I think Champagne is a very similar play. So I just think as like a ownership pivot, it makes some sense. He actually has a pretty good value score here as well. Bunch of other uh, members here jumping in the chat. Appreciate you guys. We got Ben, Drone saying Danny Wolf season. We'll definitely talk about him when we get to the Nets. Early asking for the FanDuel core. We will do a dummy build at the end early, but throughout the video, we'll try to mention our favorite in core plays. Maxi, good pivot off chocolate, right there with you on that. And shouts out our man Swerve saying, let's smash the slate. Let's smash it indeed. Any other thoughts on the Wizards, man, before we move on from this game? And yeah, Rocket bringing up a good point here. He is going to be affected to a degree by Chris Middleton, but Middleton's been playing limited minutes, and Koulibaly out and Trey Johnson, I think he could still get there. Like I said, I don't think Champagne's like a smash play or anything, but I do think he's at least worth considering at his price at low ownership. More of a high risk play, definitely not a core play or anything like that.
Yeah,
But any other thoughts on the Wizards before we move on?
the only other guy I was going to mention was Whitmore, Cam Whitmore. I think he's like fine as like a true 1% stab. He lost a bunch of minutes last game, but I think 1%. He's another guy you could maybe take a stab on down the. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, and unlike some of these other value plays we're talking about, Whitmore is hyper aggressive when he's on the floor, consistently over 20% usage, which we obviously love to see. The issue with him is always the minutes. We have him for 20. If he does play 20, I think he has more than enough upside to justify considering him as a tournament play. So good shout on that one. One more game here at 7 o'clock. We got the Golden State Warriors taking on the 76ers. Warriors without Jimmy Butler or Stephen Curry. Obviously, that's significant. No Al Horford. Actually, Al Horford's questionable now, as is Jonathan Kuminga. Trace Jackson Davis and Quentin Post are going to be available in the front court, which kind of tells me maybe we don't see Al Horford play here. I don't really think they need him. But it gets interesting, man, because obviously the big, I don't know, the big names here are Curry and Jimmy. They're both going to be out. Pod's going to get the started point guard. Draymond obviously going to be doing a bit more ball handling here. I am seeing most projected lineups having Moody and Richard, but Buddy Hield to me is someone that I had circled that I wanted to get to a little bit. No one is playing him right now. He's around 1% owned. I think if he starts, we're going to see that ownership go way up. But either way, obviously, a guy who takes a lot of threes is going to have a wide range of outcomes, but a high ceiling. If Kuminga is out, I think he's going to be easier to get to. But yeah, just another team. We kind of need that starting lineup, but I think no matter what, we could get to some pods and feel pretty good about it. Draymond, we could play a little bit. Probably priced about where he should be, though. But yeah, man, I'm kind of hoping we get Hield in the starting lineup. Will Richard has shown upside as well. I think whoever starts there at the three next to Moody is going to look pretty good. But how do you feel about the Warriors?
Yeah, so I'm kind of with you. I was kind of shocked when we got Jimmy out. I expected a lot of these guys to potentially get more ownership. We haven't really seen that in the model so far. But you mentioned it. If Kaminga misses here, I think even guys like Moody and you mentioned Heald, they're going to look a lot better. So I'm kind of hoping Kaminga does sit. And I think either way, I think both Dre and Pods look solid here in tournaments as well.
Yeah, man. Again, hopefully we get this news soon. Definitely looking forward to it. And I think this is a team that's going overlooked, right? Because we're
Yeah.
getting some big names out in other spots, but the two biggest names are out for Golden State. And on DK, they're all single digits. Pods and Draymond getting around 50% ownership over on FanDuel. But as a team, I think collectively they might be the most underowned on the slate. Moving on to Philadelphia now. Embiid is questionable. Never know with that guy. We'll have to wait and see on that. But no Paul George. Quentin Grimes is in. Jared McCain is in. Kelly Oubre and Trendon Watford are still out, though. We had someone bring up Maxi earlier. I do think he's obviously an excellent player. There's not a ton to pay up for tonight. I think Maxi is one of the top OF index plays. Makes a lot of sense if you could afford him. I will say he's even more appealing if Embiid sits, given the extra usage he's going to see. But with Embiid playing limited minutes, I think we could go to him regardless. He's shown that he has a ceiling no matter who's available for Philly. So definitely get some Maxi in your lives here. Other than that, it gets a little bit tricky. Edgecombe's taking a step back after a really hot start to the year. The hot name this week has been Jared McCain. I mean, he's super aggressive when he's on the floor as well. He came out and scored, I think, 14 real points pretty quickly last game. And I was talking to a buddy. He had his over-under at 14 and a half. He's stuck at 14, I think, for three quarters, which was ridiculous. But he is a guy with some upside. Another pivot, similar to a Champagne from Washington, that you can maybe mix in just to get a little bit different in high-risk contests. If there is a core play here, it's probably Maxi for me. I don't know that I can get to him, though, with all the great guard value we have. Philly, another team, maybe a little bit under owned, but how are you feeling about them as a whole here in a pretty good matchup?
Yeah, starting with Maxi, obviously you mentioned it. He looks great every slate. He's just been a fantasy beast this year, to put it that way. He's been awesome. I think he looks great in tournaments. We both like the Boston guys, but he looks great at his price in tournaments. And then after Maxi, there wasn't much I was loving. Did you have a different take there? You kind of went.
Excuse me, didn't mean to cough right as you were finishing there. Um, but yeah, it's just a tough spot with Grimes coming back. With no Oubre, I think Grimes himself is actually someone, if no one's going to play him, we could get to a little bit. But yeah, that's it for that game. We're getting a comment from Swerve here. Does LeBron smash tonight, or does he continue his stand in the corner farewell tour? Pretty tough on old man LeBron. But yeah, he's taking a step back this year. A big part of that, though, has been Luka just absorbing all that usage, playing MVP type basketball. Luka is out tonight. He is in Slovenia for the birth of a child. Good on him. Congratulations to the Doncic family. But the guy I really want to get to here is definitely going to be Austin Reeves. Reeves has been absolutely awesome this year. With LeBron out, he's been crushing. Obviously, tonight he's going to see even more usage with Luka off the floor. Reeves, a core play for us. He's the cover of the video today. I think on both sites, he's worth prioritizing. Definitely someone you want to get to aggressively. LeBron's good here as well. I think at his price, he's still going to be very appealing. At the same time, I don't know that he has that 60 to 70 point ceiling we were seeing from him at times last season. So while I do like LeBron, I'm kind of neutral on him. I try to match the field if you're playing a bunch of lineups. I don't think he's the same type of core play that Austin Reeves is, but would not argue with anyone getting to James. I think you could play them in a lineup together because everything else on this team is kind of tough to trust. It is a good matchup for DeAndre Ayton. I do almost prefer him having Luka in, though, and passing the ball to him. Obviously, running that pick and roll, definitely beneficial for his upside. Could see a little bit of extra usage here. It is a decent center slate, but I do think Ayton's under-owned, sub 10%, fine mixing him in. And then we have these secondary pieces, Rui, Laravia, Connect. I'm not getting to any of those guys, if I'm being completely honest. All the Austin Reeves for me here. A little bit of James, a little bit less Ayton, but still a little bit. Maybe some Rui. More so on FanDuel. 4,100 for him does feel too cheap. But I'm more so on DK. 5K feels, I don't think I need to get there. How you feeling about LA, man? Definitely Reeves, but everything else is kind of tricky. I do think LeBron looks pretty good.
Yeah, right with you. I mean, Austin Reeser looks like the top play in the slate. Love him both sides. I'm a little bit more bullish on LeBron. 8,500. We've seen him. I think Underdog posted something. He's been historically really good against Toronto, but I think he looks great at his price. I love LeBron, and then I'm fine mixing in some Aiden. There's you mentioned there's a bunch of great center plays today, but it's a pretty good spot for Aiden as well. So I'm fine with Aiden, kind of like you. And then yeah, Rui's probably a little bit too expensive for me on DK. The one guy I kind of like, I'm not saying I'm going crazy with it, but Jake LaRavia, 4,200. I do kind of like the price there for his potential ceiling.
Yeah, Laravia's been tough. I mean, he's had some huge games back with Memphis. We haven't really seen that same ceiling out of him, but obviously with Luca out, maybe we get that boost here. I didn't mention it earlier, but Marcus Smart is out here as well. But again, it's just the usage on this team has been so concentrated to three players. It's tough to really expect one guy to break out. I guess we could mention Connect as well, kind of a similar play as Laravia. But again, so scoring dependent that his floor is tremendously low. The minutes haven't been there for him consistently. Um, but yeah, Reeves, get him in most of your lineups tonight, guys. He's definitely the most appealing play here. Over on the Toronto side of things, Akbaji, RJ Barrett are both going to be out. Jakub Podol is going to be out here tonight as well, which means we maybe get Sandro starting at center. Definitely a situation to keep an eye on. If he is starting at center, I do think he's pretty appealing as a value play. At the same time, I don't know how many minutes, excuse me, we can project him for. We have him for 26. I think that's fair. It seems like his cap is around 28 this season, so Sandro looks pretty good on paper, but again, there's a lot of good centers on this slate. Barnes, Quickly, Ingram, all solid plays in kind of different price ranges. Quickly, probably the easiest to get to, but with all the guard value, I do like Ingram and Barnes a lot here today as well. Again, Barnes, Quickly, Ingram, wouldn't argue with anyone having any combination of those three in their lineups. Sandro, if he starts, I do like a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went to Murray Boyles. It seems like he had been the starter earlier this year with Podol out. That may be switched though. It seems like lately they're giving Sandro more minutes. But yeah, I do like Toronto here. Obviously, still no RJ Barrett. That's going to be pretty significant. How you feeling about the Raptors?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think Mamu looks great here, especially if Pirtle misses. So yeah, big fan of Mamu here. Even if he comes off the bench, I think he looks great at his minutes. And then I think in terms of Ingram, Quickly, and Barnes, I'm fine with either of them. My guy tonight is actually I do prefer Brandon Ingram the most here. 8,300. I like the price. I like this like pace up spot for him. So I've usually am on Quickly and Barnes aside, but I'm kind of feeling like it's a BI spot tonight. So that's kind of my breakdown. Jamal Shed, did you have a take there? Super cheap, another potential like cheap value
Yeah,
guy.
I mean he's going to come off the bench. I think they start Walter over him, but Shed is the better point per minute producer. So yeah, I don't mind mixing him in. The field's getting there a little bit, but I do think he's a pretty useful piece of value. I fell for the Jacoby Walter thing a couple times earlier this week. I'm done with him, honestly. I'd much rather play Shed even coming off the bench. Grady Dick has been like such a disappointment. I think when they drafted him, they had really high hopes. I don't know. I would rank Shed ahead of both of them. Probably Grady over Walter, but I think Shed's the only one of those three I'd even want to get to at all. So yeah, good shout on him for sure, man. I think he's useful if you need him.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's pretty much. Is there anyone else you like to Toronto here?
Yeah, that's pretty much it for them. Josh Gillum saying Nurk is out. Appreciate that, man. We'll talk through that in just a minute here. How many Boston per team tonight? Like I said, I think there's only two I really trust. You could probably play three or four though, depending on your build. How are you feeling about that question there, Jayhawk?
Yeah, that's I was currently debating. I think three is probably where I want to be, but if it's like a Sam Hauser down low super cheap, I'd probably be okay with four.
Yep, Greg here asking who we would core for Utah and Brooklyn. We will use that as a segue to get into this game here. Utah Jazz here taking on my Brooklyn Nets. 231.5 point total. Jazz slight favorites on the road here, traveling into Brooklyn. Nets looked great last night, went over Chicago. Michael Porter Jr., though, going to get the night off. But let's start on the Utah side of things first. Elijah Harkless is out. Not that that matters at all. Just the first name on the injury report. Walker Kessler obviously out. No Kevin Love. Nurkic was ruled out, I believe. Just have to confirm that. He's been questionable all day. I was kind of building with him out, so that doesn't surprise me at all. Just confirming that here. Uh, yep, confirmed. Appreciate whoever shouted that out. Don't mean to question you. Just wanted to make sure. We still have him in the model here, so keep an eye on that. But I'm thinking we're going to see Filipowski starting at center. I don't think they need to play very big against the Nets. I don't even think they could if they wanted to. They do have Oscar Tashwibwe. I don't know that I'm pronouncing that correctly. If he were to suddenly start at center, I think he's extremely appealing. I think the odds of that are extremely slim, though. It's going to be a big boost for Laurie. He's going to play a few minutes at the five. Laurie and Keontae George both look excellent. Outside of that one bad game that Keontae had, he's been absolutely tremendous. Over 45 fantasy points in four of his last five. And if you go back to like 7 or 8 games, I think that percentage goes even higher. He's just been an absolute beast. 30% usage almost every single game. He's just been tremendous. Laurie as well, obviously somewhat scoring dependent, but great matchup for both of them here. These are two guys I consider to be kind of core plays. I know the price on George makes him kind of tough to get to, but that ownership is screaming at me, man. Sub 10% on both sites, especially on DK at 7,700. On FanDuel, you can play him at shooting guard or point guard. Love Keontae George in tournaments. I think Laurie is a little bit safer, but those two to me are excellent plays here. And again, if Filipowski is going to get the start at the five, he looks great as value. Coming off some solid games, even with Nurk in there. Ace Bailey, very wide range of outcomes. Don't mind mixing him into my exposures. And then I guess Sensabaugh would be the first guy off the bench for me. I really don't have much interest in guys like Collier or Svi. But again, Laurie, George, core plays for me. I don't mind some Ace. Filipowski, if he starts. Tough not to like some Utah here. How do you feel about the Jazz?
Yeah, man, I think this game looks great, like you mentioned, especially Utah here. You mentioned Filipowski. If he does start, he's a fantastic producer. I think he's going to be great value both sides. And I love the Markkinen shot, man. We mentioned like LeBron's in that price range, but it looks like Markkinen not getting the ownership compared to LeBron. So I think that's a really sharp pivot there in a very good spot. And then I'm a little bit bullish on Ace Bailey today. The model likes him. 5K isn't like a great price point, but definitely a guy I want to mix in some in tournaments. And then, yeah, Keontae George, I think he's fine. But I'm a little bit higher on like Markkinen and the rest of the team here personally.
Yeah, the price on George makes him tough to get to, but you mentioned it, man. The model loves Ace Bailey today. 15.4 value score over on DK, 16.1 over on FanDuel, and sub 10% owned on both sides. Just an excellent tournament play. And again, this is before we had the Nurkic news official. He was in the model. You're getting 25 minutes, so expect slight adjustments. Over on the Brooklyn side of things, I already mentioned it. We're going to be without Michael Porter Jr. tonight. Obviously, that's significant. Terrence Mann is back. He's missed a few games. That's important. No Drake Powell, Nolan Traore getting rested here as well. Haywood Highsmith hasn't played a game yet for the Nets. He's going to be out here as well. But everyone knows I love to talk about my Nets. Igor looks pretty good. His huge game did come without Michael Porter Jr. He's going to be shooting the ball a little bit more, but on a back to back, I would be surprised to see him play 30 minutes. At the same time, no one's playing him here. I do think he's fine in tournaments. My favorite play for the Nets tonight is Noah Clowney. Clowney had some huge games with Michael Porter Jr. out. He's been super aggressive offensively. In those games without Porter Jr., he was just shy of 25% usage. I think he went over 35 fantasy points in 3 out of those 4. My favorite play here. And I think Claxton looks okay, but we need to keep in mind he had a really tough time with Porter Jr. out, albeit those games came against the Knicks, the Sixers, and the Bucks, so definitely tougher matchups. But his assist rate went way down. It was kind of tougher for him to find his looks with Michael Porter Jr. off the floor. So I'm not as bullish on Claxton here as the field is. He's the most popular net on both sites. I do want to get to some of him, but again, I think with Porter out, he is someone who could suffer a little bit. But again, with no Nurk, this matchup's just so damn good for him, it might not matter. Fine with Igor. Again, my favorite play here is Clowney, and I brought him up yesterday. He ended up closing. Danny Wolf looks pretty good here. It's going to be interesting. He needs to get minutes, but I do think at his price he's appealing. It just sucks that the field's on him now. He was 1% owned yesterday. Today he's 34% on DK, 19 over on FanDuel. He's not going to start. He's going to come off the bench, but such a good fantasy point per minute producer. Does everything. Good from three. Can crash the boards. Can cut into the lane. Decent passer as well. Just does it all. So I like Wolf off the bench. Fine getting to him as a value play. My favorite play today here is Clowney. Fine getting to some Igor and Claxton as well. If you're landing on Banner Zaire, fine. Tyrese Martin probably gets the start here. Actually, no, Tyrese Martin probably comes off the bench now that Man's back, but those three are just risky, in my opinion. Get to all the Clowney. I love him here. Fine with Claxton, fine with Igor. And then, yeah, Danny Wolf. The field's catching up to me, man. It sucks. I still like him, though, in tournaments. Just some risk in his minutes for sure. How do you feel about the Nets?
Yeah, first of all, excited to be talking about the Nets, man. This much Nets exposure for me is like a season high right now. But Yeah, so I think Noah Clowney looks great, man. 5600, excuse me. Pretty good price point, solid matchup here. So perfectly fine with Clowney. I don't know what to do with Wolf. As of right now, I have a lot of him. I'm like double the field, but it's mainly that he's cheap. So I really like Wolf in tournaments. I know the model doesn't love him, so kind of going against the model there. And then I think Claxton's fine. I'm a little bit underweight as of right now with all the other solid center plays. You mentioned it. Without MPJ, he struggled a little bit. And then the only other guy I wanted to talk to you about was Tyrese Martin, 4,200. Were you getting there at all? He's another guy that I kind of wanted to mix in tournaments.
Yeah, man. I mean, Martin's been kind of disappointing. He could get hot from three, which is always appealing. But I do think I would probably play Zaire over Man or Martin tonight. But as I'm saying this out loud, I don't think I want to play any of them. I'll just get to a lot of Clowney, some Wolf, some Igor, maybe a little bit of Claxton. Those wings, I think one of them goes off, but there's just no way to really know who it is. I will say Man has struggled starting next to Igor. Igor definitely becomes a true point guard as the starter, obviously, and that takes away from what Man was doing earlier in the season when Igor was coming off the bench. But yeah, I mean, this game environment's really appealing, and there is a world where someone like Dayron Sharp hits value. I mean, he's had 20 plus fantasy points in just 10 minutes a few times this season. There's not many guys who can do that. If Claxton does see a few less minutes in the back to back, maybe he's someone who benefits. But again, to recap, love Clowney, like Igor, fine with Claxton. But yeah, great matchup here for the Nets at home. Can they win two games in a row? We'll see. I mean, if it's ever going to happen, it's probably here tonight.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Nets two in a
Uh,
row. I'm all here for it.
Yeah, Drone said he likes Ace Bailey back in NYC. I mean, the model's right there with you, man. Definitely can co-sign that play. We'll talk about Queen here in just a minute. Drone said Shibe as well. And any thoughts on Dalton Connect? I mentioned earlier, I think he's okay as like a last guy in. The minutes are volatile though, and he's so scoring dependent. He has a high ceiling but a very low floor. So if you're playing him in a large field contest, I think it's okay. But in anything small field or low risk, any of your cash games, I'd probably stay away. But Jayhawk, how you feel about Connect?
Yeah, I'm pretty much staying away for the most part. We mentioned like Jamal Shed, I think, is another guy I'd prefer around him. There's a bunch of like good low end guys I'd rather get over him.
Yep, right there with you, man. All right, let's move into that game. We had the mention of Derek Queen. We got the Timberwolves here taking on the Pelicans. And yeah, this is the last game on the slate. We're making pretty good time. So if you guys do have any questions, feel free to get them in. Again, we will do a dummy build here at the end of the video. But starting on the Minnesota side of things, nothing significant. A couple of G Leaguers listed. Enrique Freeman's available. He's going to be wearing a face mask. I don't know why I'm even mentioning that. He's not in the model for any minutes. But yeah, man, on a slate where there's not much to pay up for, I don't mind getting to some Anthony Edwards. Could this game blow out? I guess. Pelicans have been playing a little bit better lately, but they're missing some key pieces tonight. So definitely keep an eye on the spread in this one. Randall, not going overlooked at all. I was going to say maybe play him if the field wasn't getting there, but they are. He definitely has the ceiling here. Gobert, I think you mentioned pre-stream you liked a little bit. I think he has about as high of a ceiling as anyone in terms of point per dollar for Minnesota. So don't mind mixing him in a pretty reasonable ownership. You can make a case for McDaniels. You can make a case for DiVincenzo. We always like Nas Reed off the bench, knowing what he's capable of. I'm just kind of neutral on all these guys. They're all getting ownership. I think they should, but there's not one play that I'm sitting here saying stands out to me. How about you? How you feel about the Timberwolves?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think, all these guys, let's start with Ant and Randall. I think they're both great. I prefer Ant, I think, if I'm picking one, but I think they're both great. I love Gobert. He's kind of my flag plant here. 6K. I know it's a big price, but New Orleans has really struggled against big. So love Gobert. And then I do really like Nas Reed. If you can get up to the studs here, I think Nas could flash a big ceiling off the bench for the T-Wolves here.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about we don't want to lean into recency bias too hard, but these teams just played. Ant went for nearly 60 fantasy points. That game went to overtime, though, right? Or double
Yeah.
overtime. Gobert had 50. I think it went to OT, but those two really crushed in that spot. So those are probably the two we want to get to if we assume this matchup plays out similarly. But the field's getting there as well. Over on the New Orleans side of things, Herbert Jones is out. Carlo Matkovic is back. No Eves Missy, DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole, and most significantly, no Zion Williamson. We're probably going to see Derek Queen starting at the 5 here. We're getting questions about him. No Missy or Zion. I do think it's a good night to probably get to some Queen. We saw some huge games from him with those guys out just a couple weeks ago. He's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Inconsistent in terms of his shot making, but he does everything else. He's reasonably priced. And on FanDuel, you could play him at power forward. So I like him even better over there. Sadiq Bey has had some massive games. I'm fine getting to him. Trey Murphy, very high ceiling. Those two look good. And then Jeremiah Fears, another guard you can consider. I think all the starters here are kind of appealing. I say that with Bryce McGowan's in my projected starting lineup. I probably leave him out of that group. If I'm playing any punt, it might be Alvarado off the bench, assuming maybe they want to put him on Ant a little bit here. He had 25 fantasy points in 25 minutes when these teams squared off 2 days ago. So might be a decent spot to get to some Alvarado. But yeah, I do like Queen. I'm fine getting to Bayer Murphy. They kept it close last time. I don't see why they can't do it again. Probably want to get to some Pels here. How you feeling about them?
Yeah, for sure, man. Kind of like Golden State. I feel like these guys are pretty underowned. Starting out with Queen, I think he looks pretty solid at his price. Coming off a pretty good game against Minnesota the other night, and there's still no Missy. So yeah, totally cool with Queen. And then love the Alvarado shot. Another guy that's underowned. He does have a ceiling, so I definitely am cool with Alvarado. And then Murphy's coming off a huge game. I don't know if I love the spot here, but yeah, I think he's fine at his ownerships. Were you getting any Sadiq Bey tonight?
I don't mind him, man. I just think with Murphy back, he's a little bit overpriced. Again, pretty much everyone on both these teams had value last time, but that game went to overtime, so
Yeah.
just proceed with some caution. But I don't mind it. I just think he's pretty much priced where he should be. I think the more likely to really break through for a ceiling is Murphy, so I'd rather get to him. Um, and then Queen as well. I think Missy did play that game,
Did
so
he?
he has even more upside off a 40-point performance. So yeah, I don't mind Bay, but I'd rank him behind Queen and Murphy.
Yeah, that's kind of what I went to.
Awesome. All right, first question here, or not first question, but first question since we're through the team by team breakdown. Favorite center on FanDuel for you?
Let's see. That's tough, right? Let me sort it back into. Do you want to go first? I'd probably say Kata if I had to like pick here.
Yeah, I mean, I like Keita. I don't mind him. I think my favorite tonight is actually going to be, man, I don't want to say it because it's kind of gross. It might be Bagley. I think Gobert might be the safest if you're playing cash games. Kate is going to be very popular, but I think Gobert for just 600 more is probably the best center play over on FanDuel. Kate is there. Bagley for me in tournaments, though, just 4% owned seems too low.
Yeah, maybe would you mix in maybe some Derek Queen? I guess he's power forward, so he's not true center.
Yeah, it's tough not to just play him at power forward, right?
Yeah,
Filipowski as well. If he starts at the 5, I like him a lot.
yeah.
But again, I
Mamu,
play them at power forward.
do you like that price on Mamu? Sub 5K on FanDuel.
Oh yeah, yeah. And again, this is pre Nurkic news, the model that I'm showing right now. So guys, get behind that paywall. It's $7 a week. You can see the updates to the model as they come in. Obviously, we have ownership projections for both sides. We have the lineup builder as well if you're looking to get into some MME. But let's go ahead and start on these dummy builds. Yeah, man, 5 game tonight. I think Reeves is the first guy in, obviously.
Yes, sir.
From there, are we getting Pritchard and White, or do you have a preference between the two, or do you just want both?
Man, it's tough. I think Pritchard's probably who I prefer, but they're both look great.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm fine with both. I agree. I think the discount on Pritchard makes him my preferred play, but we could go ahead and plug them both in.
Okay.
I'm gonna make the
Let's do it.
decision to plug in Clowney. I love him here.
Let's do it.
Who else do you want to kind of prioritize?
Let's see. So the field would say get to Wolf, but I don't know if that's a must play in our build.
I do like Wolf. I don't know that we need him. I want some Utah for sure. Maybe Laurie.
Yeah, Laurie. I was gonna say Laurie. Yeah, Laurie's great play.
Yeah, let's get Laurie. And he does not have small forward, which is kind of annoying. Thoughts on Heald and Payton? I mentioned it earlier. I do like Heald in tournaments. Would prefer him starting. Payton's boom or bust. I think his minutes are capped. Jayhawk, how do you feel about those two? Neither are projected to start. I think there is a world where we see Heald starting, though. That lineup should be out very soon.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I'd prefer Buddy Heald, but yeah, probably Heald for me. I'm not. Don't know
And
if
we
we
did just get word Horford and Kuminga are both available.
okay.
So maybe that mutes some of the upside of Golden State. Not that we were all that bullish on them anyway. I think Pods and Draymond are still worth getting to some extent. All right, we got center, we got small forward, we got utility. I mean, I do like Queen, Gobert,
Yeah,
probably
Gobert is
Gobert.
great. Yeah, it's a Gobert. I like it.
Now we got to go very cheap. Now we got to play Wolf.
We could play. Yeah, is he small forward or not? Only power forward.
No, he's power forward center, but now we're down to like, ugh, this gets ugly.
I was gonna say Hauser, but we're just short of him, right? 200
We're
short.
just short. I love that. So if we go Hauser, we could maybe downgrade Gobert. I do love Gobert here, but actually, you know what? Let's keep Gobert. If we get rid of White, I think we're gonna end up on quickly. Yeah, I like this
Yeah,
better.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
You get that Toronto
this is
exposure.
beauty. Um, okay, over on FanDuel. I mean, Filipowski, I want to throw in before I forget. Could have played him on DK as well. We definitely want Reeves. I mean, White and Pritchard probably.
Yeah, they look great.
Um,
Sorted by FanDuel value. Jacoby Walter. Don't play him. Don't play. Let's see. Is there any guys on FanDuel? I guess you love on FanDuel.
I mean, I like Clowney. Who'd you just say?
Oh, I was just saying. I was joking. Jacoby Walter was the number one FanDuel value. I just said don't play him.
Oh man, yeah, no, I'm done with him, man. He's probably gonna go off now that I'm not playing him. This is tricky because I do want to get to some Queen. I guess we leave.
Yeah,
I mean, we could go really weird with it and play Filipowski at center, which is maybe not the sharpest thing to do. But if we get Queen in, I mean, this is a pretty decent
yeah,
build. We're left with 6,400 per. Um, I mean, maybe Trey Murphy,
yeah. I like Murphy. Who's cheap on FanDuel?
Pods,
Yeah, Pollard is pretty solid on FanDuel.
Pods, Murphy. What does that leave us with? 58. Yeah, we'd have to move some things around. But you guys see where we're at. We're getting close here. I mean, you can move Murphy. You can downgrade Murphy to Bay. Probably get a better small forward in there. Because we're not going to leave this much salary on the table. It seems like too much.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, 2K or no, it'd be McDaniels here. He fits perfectly, actually. That's not bad.
I like it. Mix in maybe some Nasri too. I like him in tournaments for
Yeah, I like
marketing.
Nas. Definitely a tournament play, but the ceiling for him is awesome. Um, so we're saying Laravia again, kind of similar to Connect, maybe a little bit higher of a floor, but scoring dependent. It's tough to trust these secondary Lakers plays, man. I love Reeves. I do like LeBron a lot, who we did leave out. Fine with some Ayton, but everyone else, like I think they have upside, but I can't say I trust any of them.
Yeah, man, it's tough. Like when we have all this other value, just trusting the other Lakers pieces is difficult.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just check the news one last time. Again, guys, keep an eye on lineups tonight. Obviously, things could change. Lakers say Luka will be back soon. They don't know what day yet. Obviously, on some paternity leave there. But yeah, guys, as always, appreciate you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out the links in the description below to get access to the model that you see us using throughout this video. We have a brand new lineup builder. We got Smitty about to go live in Discord, taking you up until lock. And as always, we're in there breaking news, helping you kind of make your final decisions, good things like that. But any last words, Jayhawk, before we get out of here for the day?
No, go tune into Smitty in Discord and let's go Austin Reeves tonight.
Hell yeah, let's do it, man. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you guys. Good luck.